Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. So much to do, and we film Monday.
It's just the wardrobe.
Yeah, I know.
The clothes are getting the
This is fucking ridiculous. Okay, talk about it till we're blue in the face, till 10 o'clock at night.
I can't tell if today I'm serving messy but cute with my hair, or if it just looks like I rolled out of bed, cause it was the second one that happened. As many of you know, I actually worked in film production while living in California for a few years. And the first one that I worked on was a horror film called Red Tide Massacre. Watching a bad horror film in itself is an experience, but working on one is sure another. Did I get paid more than minimum wage? Absolutely not. But when you're starting off, that's pretty common anyways when working in crew for film. I started as a production assistant with this film, and then overnight I became prop master, set dresser, and a caster. Had I ever done any of that before? No. When you are in the middle of Florida and they tell you, hey, your job is switching, you kind of just have to go with the flow. You guys absolutely loved my FNAF movie ripoff video, which is here, and I'll link in the description below, because if you like this one, you're also gonna like that one. So I thought I would do a very similar styled video, but with a movie that I worked on. And with that, let's get started. Quick disclaimer, just in case anyone from set sees this. I loved almost everybody on the set. Yes, I'm gonna be critical, but that's just life, baby. It starts with this text screen explaining that in 2018, a red tide affected many in the state of Florida, including 2,000 tons of animal life. So about 60% of the Red Tide Massacre was filmed in California, and the rest was filmed in Florida, including this opening shot. And a beautiful text overlay stating the production company. I designed that cup that she's holding. It's filled with pool water. So we get shots insinuating that something is after Miss Girl lounging in the pool, who is supposed to be the lead actress. A claw then pops out and... But it was all a dream. What? I also ripped up this hat and pool floaty and cut my finger in the process. But I'm not gonna show that photo because I don't want to. Hey, do I say something in the camera? Our lead is Rio, a news anchor in Florida who is reporting all about the red tide. She also introduces that there is an escaped felon named Al David. That's a spoiler though. Actually, I shouldn't really be showing this. It just looks too fucking funny. Look how neon that is. First scene that we see Al, he is running away from the cops. And when he catches up to one of them, a lot of grunting happens. But for some reason, Al lets him live and steals his shoes. Can you guys hear that? Al runs into another cop. They both strategically fire 2 rounds and then Al skedaddles away. The movie really could have been over quite quickly. The chase ends with Al getting shot and falling into the red tide infested waters. He just disappears and the cops go about their day. All right. Al does make it out of the water though, and suddenly he is starting to turn green and waddle like a baby with poo in his diaper. And then, y'all, I'm in the movie, shit, that's me. So yeah, like I kind of briefly mentioned, I was just supposed to be a PA on this set. Then I became a prop master in Florida because a week before filming, they realized there was no prop master. And then I became a set dresser because a week before production, they realized they had not hired a set dresser. And then, once again, a week before filming, they realized we haven't casted a lot of people. So then I began casting. At least I got overtime for my 18-hour work days. We then get this amazing cut, 10 out of 10 editing. Guys, he's changing. Mr. Monster Man then lets out a little screech. It is then time for some lore drop. So this guy is the sheriff, and this guy is his son. His dad really wants him to join full-time on the force, and even to become a sheriff after his dad retires. This is important later.
But I was always hoping that you'd work alongside me until I retire.
So what do you guys think a red tide looks like? Pausing for music as you think about your answer. I'm gonna show you what that red tide does look like. Now let's carry on with the film. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? Everything looks good, the water's looking good, very clean, very healthy, very real. Rio, the news anchor, tries to get some information from the sheriff, and he basically just says,
I hope you're hungry for nothing.
and doesn't tell her anything of value. Very stubborn man, actually. But then a girl named Summer walks up and lets Rio know that her uncle is a skunk ape expert.
My uncle, he's the local skunk ape expert, and he has a warning. He thinks there's more trouble coming.
The next scene cuts to a beach worker cleaning up trash, and when he gets into his cart, Al says, "Gotcha." Okay, he doesn't say that, but it would be really funny if he did. Then again, Sheriff Fuller being rude as hell to Rio.
I'm not ready for your bullshit.
Why do you have to be like that? She is trying to educate the people of your town that you are keeping in the dark that there is a 3-clawed, sweaty green man killing people for fun, and you're just like, let's actually not tell anybody what's going on. We finally see Skunk Ape Uncle pop in to clarify that a skunk ape is actually the Bigfoot of Florida. Any Floridians in the chat? Skunk ape, have you heard of that?
There's a skunk ape.
He thinks that's what's doing this all. Two guys go to the Red Tide waters just to get some samples so that they can start kind of figuring out what's going on. And one of them are snatched by something.
Bobby?
It wasn't Al, because he's over here. So what took our man Bobby may forever be a mystery. Al stabs the other guy with his claws, and we then get to see what condition he's in now. I do want to point out this extremely long shot of the deputies riding a boat for nothing to come out of it. Just riding a boat, having a good old time, looking around on a boat. Before I talk about this day of filming at this bar, I really want to emphasize that this was a 18 or 19 hour work day. It was bad. I have never been so close to passing out like a sim when their red bar finally reaches the end. Tommy and Rio run into each other and they decide, let's go get a table and chit chat a little bit. And then somebody named Kara, who is a lab worker, comes in to let Tommy know, hey, I have your lab samples and they will be coming in tomorrow. But she's also very unhappy to see Rio and Tommy mingling. In my opinion, she makes it very obvious. Their server is definitely a face to remember as well, because once the night is over, she begins cleaning up after her shift, and again, Al says, gotcha. He doesn't say that. He then squeezes her like a tube of Go-Gurt and yeets her off the balcony. We then oh my god, this next part is so funny. We then see her dead body planking on the picnic table, which is honestly a fire way to go. Planking on your way out is kind of a sick move. This is why I don't film during the day. We then get some more lore drop from the summer girl, aka Skunk Ape Uncle's niece.
There's this local legend that says when the blood moon meets the red tide, the only thing that will satisfy the land is blood.
She tells Rio to do more research on this legend, and she does, and finds this terrifying video. In my opinion, is 10 out of 10 proof skunk ape real. We then get to my absolute favorite part of this movie. You guys have no idea how hard it was to cast these two people. In just 4 or maybe 5 days, I had to use Facebook groups to try and find all of these Florida actors. And this one was specifically hard because it had to be a bulky man that owned a motorcycle that also was into acting. Some things just don't line up, and that feels like one of them. And with that, a blonde woman that was comfortable getting on a motorcycle for these shots. It doesn't sound too hard, right? Wrong. So this was filmed in somebody's backyard, and I was just on the side carrying a huge smoke machine, trying to get the perfect mist, and God, it was stressful. Because if too much came out, we had to restart, and if there wasn't enough, we had to restart. So yeah. And I was also supposed to put up this tent, and I said, absolutely not. I'm not learning how to put a tent up for the rate of $15 an hour, so I just shoved it in some man's hand and said, you got it.
Tammy, I gotta take a piss.
Guys, I promise, I really tried hard while casting these actors, but he had a motorcycle, you know? This next part is why I have such fond memories of this day, even though it was very stressful. So while this blood is coming out, I am in the tent, low to the ground, splattering the side of it, and we only had one take. And these photos are my absolute favorite from any production that I've been on. It cuts to the wing eating contest, which was for sure entertaining to say the least. And you can tell here that Tommy starts having feelings for Rio, for sure. Kara will not be happy. The next kill is the winner of this wing eating competition, so hey, at least he died an absolute champ. Never mind, nobody is a champ after that. Charlie, the skunk ape uncle, is somehow at the scene, and he is just very adamant about this being the skunk ape causing all of this havoc, and even shows scars that he supposedly has from this ape to the sheriff. Naturally, of course, it is ruled as a drunk accident.
Well, when'd you get drunk and do that?
And honestly, very valid. My girls and I get wild too when we hit the town. So after Charlie, skunk ape uncle, leaves, the sheriff gets a call from Tommy, and his dad starts to get the feeling that there is someone nearby. So he hangs up the phone. Al walks out of the woods, and not looking good, to say the least. The other times, he looked like a pretty princess in comparison. Of course, the sheriff's flashlight dies, and he is met with an Al jump scare. Gets clawed in his gut, and then goes pew pew. After a bite to the face, youch, Al falls down. The sheriff makes his way to the car, and Tommy finds him.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's not human, son.
And then he takes his last breath. Oh, actually, okay, no, he's not dead. Okay, now he's dead. Rio goes to Tommy to share her condolences, and we see the fire in Tommy's eyes when he says,
I'm gonna kill him.
He then gives Rio a fishing spear, which, like, yeah, all right. But, like, other things may have been better than that. We then get insight on what is happening in the lab and get some answers. You know what that means, right? Editor be like. The next scene, I actually feel so much anxiety while watching because Al comes out of the water, and in the water as well was his claws. I was in charge of the claws for our Florida production. And when I say that if these claws touched water, the paint would just immediately start coming off, I mean it. I really mean it. It meant that for the rest of the day, his claws were gonna be chipped and fucked until production was over and I got to go home and repaint them. The mask is then introduced. A very expensive mask at that. When I say it was the worst gummy texture, and when it was wet, it was so slippery. The lab people then decide it is time to get more samples of this alive water. Photos are being taken, and then Alex sees bubbles in the water, but doesn't really think anything of it and just tries to get his samples. Something then hits his boat, so of course he paddles away, and then boom, could have said gotcha, but I didn't want to reuse that again. So I'm confused because something has to be like in the water working with him or something, because something will happen in the water and then Al will be like 50 feet away ready to use his little claws. My theory is Al and the stock footage alligators were just kind of tight like that, you know? Kara then brings a folder to Tommy and lets him know that human and algae DNA have mutated together. He asks her if she's ever seen this before, and she replies,
Only one of those bad horror films.
Rio then goes to Skunk Ape Uncle, and we get this 10 out of 10 throwback scene. You know it's a throwback because of the color change. Guys, time to get serious for a second. I actually need to point something out to all of you. It was 100% my fault, and truthfully, I feel as if I need a couch apology for what I'm about to say. When making this poster, as the prop master, I misspelled trespassing, and I misspelled sheriff. Oh yes, it is funny as fuck. I need to take accountability of my actions. I'm sorry to the directors and the producers and anyone else on set who noticed this and made fun of me for it. And now I'm gonna move on because I need to. A couple is then enjoying their time at the beach, and paint chipping Claw McGee comes up and he did something. I don't know what, but something. Sponsor time. Have you ever wanted to make a website of your cat? This girl has. I need to share my beautiful man to the world. And with Squarespace, I can do that. And hey, you can too. Or you can, of course, make a website for something productive. Or not. You have free will. Maybe you are a photographer or you are a filmmaker and you need a way to be able to show your reels and your art to others. No biggie at all with Squarespace because they have your back. If you don't know where to start, because I know I didn't know where to start when making my website, they offer so many templates for you to choose from in many different categories too, so you could even find some that's more in your niche. Squarespace allows you to upload high quality videos and photos just with the click of a button, and it's very easy to categorize your website to how you would like it. For me and Haku's website, we offer Sync Haku, Tobin Haku, Serious Haku, and even 0.5 Haku. Their goal is to help you create a website that can be as professional as possible, so when people visit, they're very impressed. They also allow you to add your contacts because when people see how chef's kiss your website is, oh yeah, they're gonna wanna be reaching out. So build your website today. If you use my link, squarespace.com/Allie Tricaso, you will get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. And don't forget to visit my website, that'll be linked in the description below, as well as squarespace.com/Allie Tricaso to see all of the lovely photos there are of Haku. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video, and now, let's get on with it. It then cuts to Skunk Ape Charlie just laying on the ground. I don't know what for. And then
You ain't the skunk ape?
yeah, I think at this point of the film, budget was getting a little tight, so it's just easier to just cut to them automatically dead. And then there's my ass again. Hey girl, how you doing? We then find out that Charlie, the guy that just was killed, had a skunk ape costume.
Guess what's in the back seat?
What?
A skunk ape costume.
Ah, mythical Florida Bigfoot.
Bingo. It was all a hoax. Just to draw attention to Charlie's museum.
Of course it has.
But hey, at least there is some realism to this film. But yeah, he's dead now, so.
I'm gonna talk to Charlie.
And make sure he pays his tab.
Tommy is talking to the other deputies and show what the last thing caught on Alex's camera was. A claw. Ooh. They decide in this moment that it is time to go searching for Al. Don't know why this wasn't happening before, but to each their own. But what I think is really strange is that they're going to search for him themselves because they don't want state help.
Now, I sure as hell don't want a team of outsiders coming in to do our job.
The way I see it, is we got about 24 hours until the governor sends in some of his state boys.
Like, yeah, a lot of people have kind of been dying. Let's get some help with this. Maybe. Okay, so this next scene, I gotta go behind the scenes again because this sometimes haunts me. It really does. So these two were casted by me again, and we were filming in this beautiful home. The set looks great. I know, thank you. The lighting crew did a great job. Everything about this scene, beautiful. Gotta say it. So the boyfriend decides to leave, and on his way back, he gets a CGI claw right through him. And somehow she does not hear this happen. And then all of a sudden, Al dunks her head into the hot tub. I and pretty much all of the crew, including the actress herself, did not know that this was going to happen. That's something you have to tell the actress is going to happen. And her head was down there for a decent amount of time. Her panicking was actually real. Next scene is a group of teens on the beach, which they're not even supposed to be at because there are so many signs that are misspelt saying they shouldn't be there. Two of them decide to go for a little jog and yikes. The other two fall victim as well, and he takes out the boy while Shelby is definitely doing her best to take him down, but she ends up fleeing because fuck that. She comes across Tommy and he finds Nate, and then scene over. They then apparently find a folder of photos with her address on the back of one of them in Al's cell. It doesn't really make sense that these would be in Al's cell because Rio just moved there, but we can ignore that, right? Algae Man then comes out of the trenches and breaks into Rio's house, and I will say, girlie puts up a good fight. More behind the scenes, when she hits him with this frying pan, that was real. She accidentally actually hit him with the frying pan. Tommy has a feeling that something is wrong, so he is booking it to her house, and on the way, he leaves a voice message.
If you hear this, please get to safety, okay? I love you.
He just met this girl. He makes it to Rio, and Tommy stalls for time while Rio is getting in a car and runs fucking Al over. Power move. Man is down, and Tommy gets stabby while he's stabbing. He definitely dies from this, which is good. But honestly, it kind of feels very anticlimactic. Like, it seems like there should have been a more powerful scene. Rio just goes happily back to reporting, and they blame all of this shit on global warming. Pardon me?
We can only imagine the kind of horrors the future will hold if we continue to ignore the warnings of Mother Nature. The clock is ticking on our window to act on climate change.
You're gonna tell all of these victims' families, oh, sorry, it was climate change. A spreading of the sheriff's ashes takes place. Urn from Amazon, if you ever need an urn. Ashes from sand on the beach that they are standing on. But hey, I did make this wreath, and may I say, it looks very pretty. On this day of filming, did I forget the wreath stand back in my hotel room, which was about a 30-minute drive each way. So someone had to take me 30 minutes to go get the wreath stand and then come back. And because of that, it pushed us back an hour on our film day. No, that didn't happen at all. That's crazy. You would even suggest that. While Tommy is speaking, he decides to say his father's last words.
My dad's last words to me were, Tommy, you gotta save our town. Remember, it is our home.
He didn't say all that.
Save the town. No.
As time continues, Rio then becomes the head anchor of this news channel. Shelby becomes a deputy. Tommy becomes sheriff with 2 R's. Kara made a discovery. The end. I got listed as a production assistant and property master. I think I should have got more than that, but that's okay. I hope you guys liked this more personable film video as I was able to work on it myself. But I did once again have a great time. There were lots of stresses, lots of people I wanted to strangle. But that's just film, baby. I actually have another one of these I can hopefully make this year because I also worked in a Lifetime movie production and it should be coming out. It was supposed to come out a while ago, so there's a chance that it just got halted in production and it's never gonna come out. But if it does come out, I will be filming a Christmas movie review on a Lifetime film that I worked on, so you can look forward to that. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring today's video. You can visit squarespace.com/Allie Tricaso to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my socials, that will also be linked in the description below. So yeah, I will see you guys hopefully very, very soon. Bye-bye. How you doing? How are you?